Hello everybody, Neil Winteregg here with Matterhorn Business Development. Welcome back to the Newsroom. I'm joined again by my star guest, Dr. Greg Winteregg.
Here we go.
Before we get started, be sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, because we have a lot of amazing stuff that's coming out. Our film schedule, our topics, what we're doing is really good, and you're not going to want to miss a thing. So be sure you hit that subscribe and that bell notification to be able to find out exactly when we're uploading our next video. So today on the Business Newsroom, I have a topic that I know is going to be juicy. I know it's going to lead to him telling us how he really feels. So what we're going to start with isn't what we're going to be talking about at the end of the video. Let's put it that way.
I love these.
This article just popped up in my LinkedIn feed the other day, and I thought, okay, we have to talk about this.
Okay.
And so I will leave a link in the video below. But on LinkedIn, it says student debt may soon mean less pay. And so I thought, okay, so I clicked on it.
What does that mean?
So a Senate proposal, this is coming from the Senate.
Okay.
A Senate proposal would require employers to deduct federal student loan payments from workers' paychecks.
Whoa.
The plan would require borrowers to choose between having 10% of income taken out of their paychecks or deducted over a decade. People can now choose, like right now, they can choose between 14 different repayment plans, but none of them require garnishments, and they're all overseen by loan admin companies. So consumer advocates say the new plan could force people to divert money from things like food and rent. Of course they would say that. But what that means is that right now, I can decide to go to college and I will eventually pay back my student loans. I mean,
Or not,
but
because you could choose to not pay.
you can not pay and have food and rent, which is what this is trying to say, is that
Right.
people can only afford food and rent because they don't have to pay back their loan right away or whatever. Anyway, student loans are a whole nother subject. You can defer them for a million years, but you still have to pay them back.
So you're going to school to get debt,
Yes.
and the job that you're going to get after school
Yes.
is not going to pay you enough money
Yes.
to pay back the loan unless you starve.
Correct.
So then, why go?
There it is! I knew that's where we were going.
Why go? I mean, no, really.
That is what cracks me up. Okay, so, as usual, I don't agree with this and I don't agree with this. I agree with somewhere in the middle. Okay, so I agree that if a person is going to take on student debt, they should pay it back.
Yeah.
They should pay it back. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I do not agree with the idea that people can only pay back their student loans by not being able to eat and pay for rent.
Agreed.
Because if I'm going to college and college delivers a good service, which it doesn't, then I shouldn't have a problem paying back my student loan.
Because that was a good investment.
Because it was
You're
an
getting
investment
return
in my
on investment.
education.
You're making triple the income.
Yes.
And then you can easily pay back your student loan.
Yes. The problem is that colleges have not evolved for a very long time.
Right.
And so
they've definitely evolved.
they're
Tuition has evolved.
Oh yeah.
Tuition has evolved.
Oh yeah.
And so
When you went to dental school, how much was dental school?
well, I did 8 years of college.
Okay.
4 years of undergraduate to get my biology degree at Indiana University Bloomington.
Yep.
4 years of dental school at the IU Med Center in Indianapolis.
Yep.
And I graduated with $43,000 worth of debt.
Wow.
So I had summer jobs. I made a couple $1,000 there. I applied for some grants. I got $2,000 here and $1,500 there. And so I kind of pieced it all together, and then over the next 10 years I paid it back. I don't remember what the payment was. It was $400 a month.
I was gonna say it must have been like $500.
Yeah, it was
nothing.
and I'm a dentist.
Right.
All right. Dentists today, dental students today, now this is 35 years later, are graduating with $300,000 and $400,000 worth of debt.
If they're not a specialist, by the way.
Yeah, if they're not a specialist, if they're going to specialize,
surgeon,
they go more.
If you're a surgeon, it's probably what, $800,000-900,000 right
Could
now?
easily be. But then, you're going to graduate, you're going to go into the dental profession.
You're going to make $150,000 to $200,000
You'll make some money
a year.
back, but here's what's happening is dental students are now graduating with so much debt, they can't borrow money to get their own practice.
Right.
That's another $400,000. So now they're graduating And they do that. They've got $800,000 to $1 million worth of debt, and they haven't seen their first patient. That's crazy.
Yes.
That's crazy.
So a normal student.
But here's my point. Here's my point. Once the government started like student loan, everybody can go to college, student loans, then tuition just went boom, boom, boom.
Well, it's a business.
Boom. Yeah, it's total business.
It's a business.
It's just a business. College is just a business.
When you had to go to school to be normal, like, okay, I have to go to college. It's part of the normal life. You get born, you go to school.
You go to high school.
You go to high school, you go to college, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, you buy a house, you pay off all your mortgages and all your debts.
And your college degree
set enough aside, you die, you give it to your kids.
But your college degree is supposed to get you enough to get a better job.
Right. But today, that doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
College educations are only valuable if you're learning something that actually translates into enough income. So yeah, to your point, dentists are graduating with $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in debt. Way too much. But you're getting into a profession that, if you're bad, pays you $120,000 a year.
Exactly.
If you're bad,
you can pay it back.
You can pay that back quickly.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to college, and I don't know what the average person graduates with from
as far
normal,
as debt, does the article say how much
this
debt?
one doesn't.
Okay.
But
what's the average pay for someone who's graduating from college? I mean, it's still...
The average pay for somebody graduating college is less than a trade worker, a plumber.
For real?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's a whole nother article on that I can go into later. But the average college students are coming out of school with zero education and zero experience.
Yeah.
None. This is what Gary Vaynerchuk talks about all the time. Like, okay, if you want to go to college and you want to drink and you want to party, go. But I personally finished high school early. I couldn't wait to get out of school because it was mind-numbingly boring.
You finished at 16.
I did not go to college.
Right.
And the first year I went to file my tax return at H&R Block, the lady thought I was a drug dealer because I had a W-2 with a good, probably more money than she makes.
Well, say the number. It was 30-some thousand.
I was 17 or 18.
And you made like 35,000.
I think it was like 43.
That's awesome.
I don't remember. I was like 17. It was like 35 to 40,000.
I remember you coming back and said, she looked at you and said, "How old are you?"
Yeah. How did you get this job?
Exactly.
Oh, your dad owns the company. I was like, no. No.
Commission sales.
I was like, I'm a salesman.
Sales.
I make commissions. Right? I was insulted. I was 17. This lady's like, oh, your dad owns the company.
Right,
Good job. I was like, says salesman on here, lady.
That's right.
Commissions.
That's
right.
right.
But basically, the average income of the college students is dropping significantly.
Below the trades.
Oh, trades are doubling.
That's
trades
awesome.
are doubling. Because here's what happened. And Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs talked about this. I love Mike Rowe's viewpoint. He's very sane. So everybody, at one point it was like, oh, you're a plumber.
Right.
Your son's a plumber.
Right.
Oh, darn. My kids are in college.
Right.
So everybody starts going to college.
As a cultural thing.
As a cultural thing. Everybody starts going to college. Degrees became useless, which is what, this is like inflation. There's an inflation of cash.
Yep.
Now money is worthless. There's now an inflation of people with worthless degrees, which means I start going to trade schools where they have they need more tradesmen.
Yeah.
The cost of your plumber, I had to get my dishwasher installed. It took him 15 minutes and it cost me $120.
Wow.
And $120 a labor for a plumber.
Right.
Okay?
For 15 minutes work.
For 15 minutes work. Colleges have created paper diplomas. That's all these diplomas are right now. They're not providing real life skill into a job.
Well, and this is really interesting because this totally backs up what I told you guys when you were young.
Yeah.
So this is a guy who went to school for 8 years, got my doctorate, my doctor of dental surgery degree. And when each of my 3 kids, around the age of 12 or 13, I sat down and said, I think college is stupid. Those are my exact words. You don't need to go and do what I did. Now, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a CPA, okay, go.
There's a reason to go.
There's a reason to go, but really the world doesn't need more of those.
Right.
So you don't need a degree to go out and have a great life. And so none of my kids went to college. And this is like the birds and the bees talks, and it had nothing to do with sex. It's like, this is life. And so you guys, each of you, like you finished school early and you went out. Vince has his own company. He does kitchen cabinets. He just went to a conference, and he's the number 2 dealer for this cabinet line in the East Coast.
In the East Coast, yeah.
Yeah, he's and
number 1 in Florida, number 2 in the East Coast.
right. Yeah, so I mean, he didn't go to college, and so this is the point: is that it really is a lie that you go to college and get a degree, and then you graduate. You're not sure what you're going to do, but you have something to fall back on. Something to fall back on.
Apparently, the only thing people can fall back on is diverting their loan payments. Because
Well, and right now there's like over $1 trillion in student loans out, and it's a problem because this money is backed by the government.
Yep.
And Congress, Senate is now saying, oh, okay.
we have to start getting paid back.
Yeah, we need some money back, and too many of you, like a third, are defaulting.
Yes.
And so, we need our money paid back. Oh, by the way, we're going to just take our VIG, we're going to take our share right out of your check. It's not your choice anymore. Too many of you are making bad choices.
Right.
So the whole thing, I believe, is a scam. It's a business. Once the government backed up tuition just skyrocketed. I mean, you have cost of living, but the cost of a Corvette doesn't cost 10 times more than
Correct.
it did in 1981.
Correct.
It's like doubled. So when you have tuition now 10xing in just a short period of time, it's just using and abusing the system.
The other thing that's going to happen with this,
Yeah.
this is going to be an unintended consequence. Okay, so logically it makes sense that, and I'm okay with people having it taken out of their paycheck.
Of course.
I don't have a problem with that. If you're going to go to college and you're going to take,
signed the loan, you got to pay it back.
you got to pay it back.
Right.
I don't have a problem with that. But the unintended consequence is that the business owner that these people work for is going to become the enemy. Think about that for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Because I work for this
He's
guy.
taking money out of my check.
Even though the government is the one that's taking the 10%,
Right.
I'm working for this guy, and I'm supposed to make $500 a week. But at the end of the week, you got your income tax, and you got this, and then you got the student loan thing, and now I'm only making $325 after it's
Right.
all said and done.
Right.
But I'm giving him 40 hours worth of work. Now my opponent becomes the business owner.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because I'm working all this hard, but I'm only
Right.
actually making $325.
Yep.
This is another thing that's going to pivot employees. Now, admittedly, it's going to be the people who weren't going to pay back the student loans to begin with.
Right.
But it becomes another way to pivot the employee against the employer.
That's a very good point.
And that's going to be an unintended consequence of this.
That's a very good point. I don't know, maybe it's an intended consequence.
We
We won't go there.
won't go there. We're not supposed to talk politics and business. I don't know. I just feel like that's something that is going to be.
So here's the bottom line. Here's the bottom line. And I do have my new book, Fun at Work. I think someone in high school reads this book and does the exercises, they'll walk right out and start their own business.
Yep.
You look at Tony Hawk. How many millions does Tony Hawk get paid to ride a skateboard?
Millions. And
Tens.
He's
tens
retired and he's still getting paid millions.
Tens of millions, right? And I saw an episode of Shark Tank. You and I love Shark Tank. So here's 2 girls that are in college, and they came up with their own clothing line to sell to the sororities for all of the different events that they have throughout the year. So they get their own style and their own color and their own this and that. It blew up. They got an offer. They actually, when they went on Shark Tank, they had already quit college. One was a sophomore, one was a junior. They had already quit college because it was making enough money. They get an offer and it's like, why am I going to do this? Go gather up debt because, hell man, I'm already killing it.
Yep.
And so Abby was just telling me about a 17-year-old girl who's been making YouTube videos since she was 10, and now she's making her own app. She's still in high school.
Yeah.
So this is a total lie. You do not have to go down this whole college path.
Yeah.
Now, if I agree with Gary Vee, you want to go for the experience. I mean, I was in row number 3 at the National Final Four Championship when Indiana won in 1976 in Philadelphia. That was cool.
Yeah.
But I was there for a different reason. I was there to get a dental degree. Right. So if you want to have the college experience and the college fun, and you're okay with graduating with $150,000 or $200,000 worth of debt, and your employer is going to be taking money out of your check every week,
that's fine.
For your partying,
Makes
then,
sense.
Yeah. Okay. You're going into that knowingly.
Right.
But to go to college to think, well, I'm going to have my degree to fall back on. I mean, and I've told this story before. And I don't know if we were recording. So I take my mom to Best Buy to get a product. All right. And the one that we wanted was not on display. Someone had grabbed the display copy and it's in a box. And she's like, well, I want to see it. So the Best Buy clerk comes over and he's like, and he's got out his pocket knife and he gets down on the floor and he's cutting it open. And then there's these zip ties. And I look down and I say, you have to have a college degree to get into the box.
Yeah.
He looks up and says, I have 2. One in math and one in physics. So here's a guy with 2 college degrees on his hands and knees opening a box at Best Buy.
Right.
I don't think it was worth the time or the money.
Probably not.
He could have had that job right out of high school.
Yep.
And I'm not degrading the job at Best Buy.
No.
I'm just saying it was not a good business decision.
Correct.
To spend all the time and all the effort and the energy and the money.
But it's a social decision at this point.
Totally.
It's just a social decision at this point.
Accepted, oh, you are someone, if you go to college, you're going to be
Right.
successful. I was in Las Vegas a few years ago, and I was talking to the guy who was driving the cab. I said, how's this working out? He goes, oh man, I make $120,000 a year. I'm like, whoa, that's awesome. He goes, well, it's better than Wall Street. I'm like, what do you mean? He had a finance degree.
Wow.
He had a finance degree on Wall Street. He went to a convention in Vegas and said, that's crazy. And he did a little research. He make $120,000 a year. He goes to all the buffets. He gets cheap tickets to the shows. He has a great life driving a cab in Las Vegas. He could have done that after high school.
Well, here's the other side of it. Imagine the companies that are out there that are worldwide, nationwide, gigantic companies that wouldn't even hire me because I didn't have a college degree.
Right.
You guys are morons. It's like, oh, this guy doesn't even, what degree do you have in?
Right.
Well, you don't have an MBA, you don't have a this. Who cares?
We won't interview you.
Yeah.
We won't interview you.
They wouldn't
but
even.
I've been the #1 sales rep at this company over here for 10 years running.
I've sold millions of dollars.
Exactly.
Probably over $10 million worth of stuff.
But
it's
sorry,
like, oh,
son,
I'm sorry, you don't have a degree.
I'm sorry, son, we can't interview
Yeah.
you because you don't have a degree.
Yeah.
So there is this ridiculous viewpoint in business. So at Matterhorn Business Development, we're all about product. We're all about production. We're all about results.
Yes, the results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
It doesn't
your
matter.
qualifications, your past. Hey, everybody's got skeletons. Who cares?
Yep.
If you can show up on time and you can get a product and you help the customer and your production is good and you're not causing trouble in the workplace and you're having fun in the workplace and contributing to the overall purpose of the company, bring it on. Let's go.
That's what matters.
I don't care if you finish 6th grade or not. Can you help the public?
Can you do the job that
Can
we're
you do
giving
the
you?
job that you're being paid to do?
And can you learn how to do
And
the
guess
job?
what? You do it well, we're going to promote you, and someday you'll be managing your own division or the whole darn
Absolutely.
company.
So this cracks me up because I knew that this is what we were going to talk about. But I think what makes me laugh the most, like I said, is those companies that, because you haven't gone to college,
Right.
wouldn't even touch you.
Right.
Those guys are going by the wayside.
They
soon
will.
enough.
They will.
Those guys are going by because all the smart people are going the private route.
Yep. And they'll start their own business. And
That's why entrepreneurs are just booming in the U.S. right now, is because they're just going their own way. And they're not.
Or they're going to go into trades.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can make that much money in trade, then why go to college and accumulate
Yep.
3 or 4 years of income in debt?
You can be 17, 18 years old with a full-time job and a salary.
Yep.
Hey, man, that's the way to go.
Good.
Anyway,
so,
I knew you'd like
I don't
this
know.
one.
It'd be interesting to see the comments we get back. We might have some folks be critical of us.
Yeah.
But we're all about results.
We're about results.
We're all
That's for
about
sure.
results. And so these are the results. These are the numbers. Government's going to start garnishing your wages to pay back your debt. I just don't think that's a good career move.
No, not if we have gotten to the point where they have to do that to get money back, there's a serious problem in the colleges that's creating that.
Absolutely.
That's what that comes down to.
Absolutely.
They need to improve their product.
Subject for another video.
Subject for another video. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. That was us talking about colleges. If you need any help with your business or you have questions for us, leave them down below. If you want to give us some advice or some topics, please leave some comments down below and I will get them to you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time on the Business Newsroom.